Where science meets project management, every project begins with a plan, but it succeeds or fails through people. Behind every milestone achieved, sprint completed, and challenge overcome lies an invisible force field of human chemistry, cognition, and connection. It's not luck, nor merely leadership, it's neuroscience in action. For decades, project management revolved around tools and methodologies, Gantt charts, agile sprints, and KPIs. Yet, the true differentiator between a functional team and a high-performing one lies deeper. It resides in the human brain. How we trust, communicate, focus, and recover under pressure determines whether projects thrive or collapse. Modern neuroscience reveals that collaboration isn't just behavioral, it's biological. Oxytocin builds trust, dopamine fuels motivation, and cortisol erodes decision-making. Neural synchrony, where team members' brain activity literally aligns, creates creative flow and seamless coordination. The emerging discipline of neuroproject leadership bridges cognitive science and organizational behavior, equipping leaders to design psychologically safe, emotionally intelligent, and neurologically optimized work cultures. In this paper, we explore how neuroscience uncovers the hidden architecture of trust, motivation, decision-making, and flow, and how these insights can transform ordinary teams into extraordinary ones. 1. Trust. The neurochemical foundation of team performance. Trust is the invisible infrastructure of every high-performing team. It enables ideas to flow without friction, decisions to be made with confidence, and collaboration to thrive under pressure. Neuroscience shows that trust is not just emotional, it's chemical, governed by the brain's reward and stress systems. At its core lies oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Recognition, empathy, and inclusion trigger oxytocin release, reinforcing safety and belonging. This biochemical signal quiets the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, and strengthens social reasoning and empathy circuits, promoting cooperation and creativity. Conversely, environments dominated by fear or micromanagement suppress oxytocin and elevate cortisol, the stress hormone. Elevated cortisol activates threat responses, shutting down the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, analysis, and innovation. Building trust-driven teams. Leaders can actively shape team neurochemistry through small, consistent behaviors. Recognition. Right-pointing arrow releases oxytocin and dopamine. Transparency. Right-pointing arrow lowers cortisol by reducing uncertainty. Autonomy. Right-pointing arrow increases serotonin, enhancing self-efficacy. Shared rituals. Right-pointing arrows synchronize neural rhythms, reinforcing trust. When teams feel safe, their limbic systems remain calm, enabling open dialogue, risk-taking, and innovation. Real-world insight. During the Apollo missions, NASA engineered trust through open debriefs and mutual accountability. Over time, teams developed what neuroscientists now call interpersonal neural resonance, a shared rhythm of thought that enabled life or death coordination. Key takeaway. Trust is measurable and manageable. By fostering psychological safety, leaders reshape team neurobiology to enable creativity, problem-solving, and performance under pressure. 2. Motivation and the dopamine loop. Fueling focus, energy, and momentum. Motivation isn't mystical, it's molecular. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter of anticipation and progress, fuels effort and engagement. The brain releases dopamine not at success, but in expectation of success. Each small win activates a feedback loop. Progress. Right-pointing arrow. Dopamine. Right-pointing arrow. Motivation. Right-pointing arrow. More progress. Harnessing dopamine for sustained drive. Micro-goals and milestones. Frequent wins prevent fatigue. Visible progress. Dashboards and Kanban boards make progress tangible. Immediate feedback. Reinforces reward pathways and effort satisfaction link. Purpose beyond the task. Meaning amplifies dopamine's effect on drive. Without these elements, dopamine depletion sets in, leading to apathy or burnout. Leaders must balance stimulation with recovery to sustain healthy motivation cycles. Agile's neuroalignment. Agile frameworks mirror dopamine dynamics: short sprints, visible outcomes, and continuous feedback. Neuroscience confirms why agile teams sustain morale and innovation longer than traditional models. Key takeaway. Dopamine is the team's fuel. Smart leaders design systems that celebrate progress, not just outcomes, keeping motivation biologically alive. 3. Emotional regulation and prefrontal leadership. The difference between reactive and resilient leadership lies in the prefrontal cortex, PFC, the brain's executive center for planning, empathy, and emotional control. Under stress, the amygdala can hijack decision-making, pushing leaders into fight or flight mode. Keeping the brain's command center engaged. Mindfulness strengthens the PFC-amygdala connection. Pause, reflect, respond routines interrupt reactivity. Empathy activation through mirror neurons fosters trust. Sleep and nutrition protect cognitive clarity. Calm communication regulates team-wide cortisol. Case insight. At SpaceX, leaders are trained to maintain prefrontal control under crisis, speaking slowly, using measured tone, and reinforcing clarity. This isn't just composure, it's neuro-leadership. Key takeaway. Leadership is neurochemical management. By regulating emotions, leaders maintain clarity under chaos and model composure that cascades through the team. 4. Collective intelligence and neural synchrony. When a team truly clicks, their brains literally synchronize. Neural synchrony, measurable via EEG and fMRI, occurs when members' brainwave patterns align during collaboration. This state enables seamless understanding, faster decision-making, and emotional cohesion. Creating neural harmony. Shared rituals synchronize attention cycles. Active listening and eye contact activate mirror neurons. Shared goals align motivational circuits. Storytelling engages multi-sensory brain regions for shared understanding. Google's Project Aristotle found that psychological safety and shared purpose, not talent, predicted success. Neuroscience explains why. Low threat plus shared attention equals synchronized brains. Key takeaway. Neural synchrony is teamwork's biological signature. Leaders who align attention and emotional tone create teams that think together. 5. Psychological safety. Rewiring the brain for creativity. Fear silences the brain. The amygdala's threat response suppresses the prefrontal cortex, blocking reasoning and innovation. Psychological safety. Freedom to speak up without fear calms this circuitry, activating the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, and hippocampus for learning and creativity. Building safe cognitive environments. Model vulnerability. Admit mistakes openly. Reward curiosity. Reinforce exploration, not perfection. Frame feedback as learning. What can we learn? Replaces who's at fault. Encourage diverse voices. Diversity activates the brain's imagination network. Pixar's Brain Trust meetings exemplify safety and feedback. Candor without fear, allowing raw ideas to flourish without triggering threat responses. Key takeaway. Psychological safety is the brain's permission slip for innovation. Safe teams are brave teams. 6. Managing cognitive load and decision fatigue. The prefrontal cortex can only process so much before decision quality declines. Continuous multitasking and meetings drain glucose and oxygen, leading to decision fatigue and reactive behavior. Reducing cognitive overload. Timeboxing decisions during high-energy hours. Externalize memory through visual tools and documentation. Simplify choices to conserve neural energy. Deep work zones protect concentration. Automate routine tasks to preserve mental bandwidth. NASA's structured decision windows ensure that critical choices happen during peak cognitive states, protecting precision and focus. Key takeaway. Productivity depends on managing the brain's energy, not time. Leaders who design mentally efficient workflows unlock sustained clarity and accuracy. 7. Flow state. The neuroscience of peak performance. Flow is the optimal brain state where focus, challenge, and skill converge. In flow, the prefrontal cortex downregulates, quieting self-criticism, while dopamine, norepinephrine, and endorphins surge, creating intense focus, creativity, and joy. Conditions for team flow. Clear goals and feedback maintain direction. Balanced challenge keeps engagement high. Distraction-free environment allows immersion. Autonomy boosts dopamine and creativity. Shared purpose synchronizes motivation networks. Spotify's Squad model fosters flow by combining autonomy, feedback, and clear missions. Neuro-friendly architecture for innovation. Key takeaway. Flow is effortless excellence. Leaders cultivated by aligning goals, challenge, and freedom, tuning team neurochemistry for optimal engagement. 8. Learning and memory. Building the collective brain. True high performance is sustained through learning. The hippocampus encodes experience into long-term memory, while emotion and repetition strengthen retention. Teams that regularly reflect, share, and document build collective intelligence. Engineering collective memory. After action reviews lock in neural learning. Storytelling activates mirror neurons for shared experience. Mentorship loops reinforce memory through teaching. Collaborative tools externalize memory for continuity. Toyota's Kaizen culture exemplifies neuroplasticity in action. Small, repeated learning cycles that rewire organizational, neural networks toward perpetual improvement. Key takeaway. Teams remember what they feel. Learning rituals transform experience into enduring capability. 9. Resilience and stress recovery. The neurobiology of adaptation. Resilience is not endurance. It's the nervous system's ability to recover. The HPA axis manages stress through cortisol and adrenaline. Chronic activation impairs cognition, but structured recovery resets the system. Practices for neural resilience. Micro-recovery rituals, breathing, humor, movement. Post-stress debriefs. Convert tension into learning. Sleep and circadian protection. Restore neurotransmitter balance. Collective emotional regulation. Empathy synchronizes team calm. NASA and military teams train recovery as rigorously as performance, conditioning the brain to reset rapidly under pressure. Key takeaway. Resilience is neural agility. Teams that metabolize stress, rather than suppress it, sustain long-term excellence. Conclusion. The neuro-optimized project team. High-performing project teams are neurologically aligned ecosystems. Trust releases oxytocin. Progress fuels dopamine. Prefrontal regulation maintains clarity, and synchrony harmonizes collaboration. Psychological safety unlocks creativity, and structured recovery sustains resilience. The neuro-optimized project team is built on trust, not fear. Driven by progress, not pressure. Guided by emotional intelligence, not impulse. Connected through synchrony, not hierarchy. Energized by purpose, not exhaustion. As technology accelerates but human energy remains finite, understanding the brain becomes the ultimate leadership advantage. The project managers of tomorrow won't just manage tasks, they will orchestrate minds.